In this podcast episode, I present to you 3 strategies I'm using to try to obtain an objective breakthrough, which frankly, I'm just not there yet. So if you aren't there yet, stick around. Let's get there together. Welcome to the Strategy Rewind Podcast. I am your host, Migue Lebron. Here at the Strategy Rewind Podcast, we look at the relationship between goals, strategies, belief, and objective breakthrough. I'm so excited for today's episode. Hey, if we haven't met before, thank you for being connected here today. I am a father, a leader, an author, a strategy coach, and mentor, and I partner with individuals who have a goal but need a strategy. And in this podcast, we focus on the strategy to help you have a breakthrough moment. Have you ever engaged in a conversation with an individual who says the most amazing stories, the most intriguing things, and you find yourself saying you should write a book? I know I've had those type of conversations with people. I'm like, man, your life is a movie. Write a book about it. And the fact is that I think that there's a book inside of all of us. There is a story that we can share with the world that will not only impact the world, but also influence many lives and really bring value to so many lives. In that idea, I have followed the pursuit to write a book. Now, oftentimes here, as is the format of Strategy Rewind, we talk about objective breakthroughs and the strategies to obtain those objective breakthroughs. But today I want to let you know I'm not done. Today I want to let you know I'm still working it out. I'm still working at it. I have an idea for a book. I have a concept. I have a layout. I've accomplished some of the chapters. I'm very happy with the writing that I've been able to accomplish. But what I want to try to present to you that even though I've yet to accomplish that goal, even though I can report to you that, I'm not done yet, what I want to try to present to you today is the strategies that I have been using in order to get there. I'm not there yet, but in order to get there, I've used some strategies. And if you feel like there's a story inside of you and you want to share it with the world, then here are some of the strategies you may want to consider. Number 1, strategy calls for us to be honest with ourselves. In order to be able to properly strategize, we first have to analyze where we are. And so when I decided that I wanted to write a book, this big mission of mine, I first realized and was honest with myself that I had not developed the writing muscle, and thus I did not have my voice as a writer. So what I began to do was that I started a blog. In July of 2020, I started my own blog. You can find it on miguellebron.com or just click on the show links and it'll take you there. Now, I write articles that are geared towards faith and leadership. You see, my leadership experience began over a decade ago, and it began in the church. That's how I began as a leader. I started with youth and kids and preachings and colleges and etc. And my journey as a leader has taken me not only in the nonprofit organization world, but also I've been able to work in the business world and various other organizations. And it's an awesome experience. Through all of those learning curves, through all of those experiences, I bring a weekly blog every Tuesday to talk about the strategies and the lessons and the leadership tactics that truly I think anyone at any capacity can apply, because I believe we are all leaders at one level or another. If you've got son, brother, sister, cousin that look up to you, you're a leader and your influence is massive in their life. And so that's what I write about. Now, I began that blog with the intention to create the muscle, to find my voice as an author, but also to share my message. And so that's why I started the blog. And again, I've been blogging since 2020. Now, Another reason why I wanted to start a blog was because I wanted to hold myself accountable. If I knew that I said to the world, hey, world, every Tuesday there's a new blog article, I knew that at the very least someone, even if it's just my wife, someone was going to be waiting for it. And that right there made me accountable, and I needed that. I need that within my writing. And as I've gone through the journey, I've not only shared my message, I not only have found new avenues to express myself because it's opened other doors, but also I've made it into a journal that I just share with everybody, my journey as a leader and within coaching and mentoring, etc. So it's given me an opportunity, a platform to share my strategies. So maybe you're thinking, Miguel, that's fine and dandy, but blogging isn't for me. Fine, find another way. What I'm encouraging to you is to analyze where you are in your writing journey and find a strategy that you would say, okay, if I need help writing more, I need to figure out the way to do it. To me, blogging is the best way because you have to announce to your audience that you're going to blog, you have to promote the blog, and you have to be consistent to who you're writing for. And maybe your thought is, hey, Miguel, that's a good idea. Blogging might be something I want to do. Before you jump into the deep end of doing the blog, there are 7 questions you have to answer. I've actually written a blog, and I want to encourage you to just check it out. And there you'll be able to kind of go through these 7 things that I think you need to check out. Now, one of the things you're also going to want to consider is the platform. Listen, oftentimes we think that we don't have enough resources to be able to go ahead and start something like blogging. We think, well, I'm going to have to invest some money on that. No, not really. I'm sure you have a computer, a tablet, or a phone. Oftentimes, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I will put on Google Docs, and on Google Docs, I'll just start writing. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll just simply record my voice on Google Docs. Google Docs goes ahead and writes it, and then I go ahead and throw it on Grammarly. And these are all free things. I mean, you already have a phone. Most likely you're listening to me on your phone, which, by the way, if you're doing it from an Apple device, consider leaving a review. But moving on, if you're already using your phone, you can already use Google Docs, and you can use Grammarly to go ahead and have Grammarly make it look pretty and put all the words in the right places. I often say I don't get writer's block, but I do get speller's block. And if you have ever felt speller's block, go ahead and use Grammarly. It's a free, awesome program. Now, if you want to go ahead and publish your blog, maybe you're saying, well, I'll just share it on Facebook. No. Listen, put your post on Facebook, but go ahead and put your blog somewhere specific. Here's a few places that you can use. None of the things I'm mentioning today are sponsoring this episode. So if anyone from these locations are listening, hey, send something my way if you'd like to. But here's some of the things you can consider. You can use Wix. Wix is a well-known platform. They have free options and paid packages as well. You can use WordPress. There you can design your own page and put your blogs. Blogger, which is provided to you by Google. Or you can use Medium, which is super easy to use. And of course, they have a free application that you can use. Or Jimdo, which allows you to easily create a blog website where you can just drag and drop and create your own place. Now, these are all free locations, so you're not buying a domain, you're not doing anything of that nature. You're just simply putting out your blog and saying to the world, here's my writing. And again, you don't have to go this method, but if you're considering on building the muscle, which is what I had to do in order to get to where I am right now, those are some excellent places for you to post your blogs. If you want to start to write, I think you first need to analyze, where are you as an author? What is your voice? There's another thing you have to do. Number 2, you have to figure out what other individuals are saying within the conversation. So I write about leadership, I write about faith, so I'm well aware of what other individuals within the leadership world are saying. Now, sure, there are some individuals that I can relate to more, or I just like the way they communicate their message, but I'm keeping my eyes on what's happening, keeping my finger on the pulse, not to copy anybody, but really to just know what is happening and what the conversation is going on. One of the things I did is not only did I start the blog, but I also started engaging with content that is within that same niche. As Pat Flynn says, the riches are in the niches. And so I began to figure out, okay, what is the conversation that people are having? How can I write to this audience? And then I began to engage in Facebook groups that had to do with leadership. And this also allowed me to connect with individuals who were already authors or individuals who were training others to be authors, such as my friend Léandre Larouche. Léandre is actually here today as part of this episode. For those who aren't familiar with the work you're doing, Léandre, let them know about yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm a writer by profession, and I started my business, Trivium Writing. Essentially, what I do is writing consulting. Most of my clients, I help them write books. So I help them with writing a strategic book so that they can grow their business and, achieve that dream that many of us have, just to write and publish a book. But more generally speaking, though, the reason I came to the book writing world was that I really kind of nailed down the writing fundamentals. And the reason I was able to nail down these fundamentals was that I started writing at about age 15. But then what I did is I decided I would write in my second language, which is English. And by learning writing in my second language, I really started seeing the patterns and the code behind writing. And so I have a very analytical mind. And on top of that, the two languages really kind of like showed me the structure of how writing works. So I've developed a methodology and several frameworks that I teach clients. And I also apply these frameworks for clients when I help them with the consulting sides of things. So yeah, so that's what I do. I help people write books and I help them improve their writing.
There's a lot to unpack there on what you just said, Leandre, but I don't want to overlook the fact that you said that at the age of 15, you wrote your own book. Now, for the listeners who don't know this, like I do, you not only wrote this book at the age of 15, you later went on to publish that book. Talk a little about that journey of writing in your second language and later ultimately publishing it.
Yeah, I did. So that book that I started back in high school around 15, I did end up publishing it at age 21. But I think especially in the writing industry, because you have traditional and self-publishing, when it comes to traditional publishing, there are a lot of gatekeepers and it's very hard. There are a lot of barriers to entry. So I think one of the insecurities was, will I ever get published by a traditional publisher? And so I actually tried that route for my first novel, and that didn't work. And what I ended up deciding was to go to use the self-publishing route. And that worked really well for me. And I still do this. Certainly, the fear that my work wasn't going to be good enough.
For that person who is listening and is inspired and is being encouraged today to really take the steps forward in accomplishing their goal of ultimately writing, rather it be a blog or rather it be an actual living, breathing book. Talk about the strategies that we can all implement in order to achieve our objective breakthrough to ultimately share our story.
One of the main frameworks that I teach can kind of help with that. I mean, I would say at a more general level, and I think that's the case in just about anything. If you seek professional help, if you improve your skills, or if you just engage with professionals, then it just helps a lot. Obviously, when it comes to the content, because I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. It's more so content because you can work with an editor, you can polish the style, have people go over that. But when it comes to the content, I really encourage people looking at writing as just attending a dinner party and really kind of understanding that they are just talking to a community which is having a conversation, and they have a unique angle to add to that conversation, and that comes from their identity, it comes from their experience. And so that's how they can find their voice and add something of value and bring something to the table. Because it's not because something has been written or something has been done that you can't do it better. There are a lot of topics that can be better tackled, but I would really encourage people to start looking at the different communities that exist, that they are a part of, the different conversations and the different angles, because there's a variety of things that you can write about, but there's a variety of ways you can talk about it. There's so many different kind of variables that you can change in writing in order to make something fresh and original.
Léandre, I want to thank you so much for your transparency with regards to speaking of the difficulty and challenges you faced of writing your first book, and also the importance of being in that dinner table conversation. That presentation, when I heard you make it for the first time about being in that dinner table conversation, that was like eye-opening for me, because we've all been there where we're at the dinner table, we hear the conversation, we hear everybody with their chatter and their back and forth, and we want to contribute, but it feels so difficult. For the individual who's listening and says, I don't only want to be part of the conversation of sharing my message and writing a book, I want to take action. How can they connect with you in order to be able to take that next step in having their breakthrough moment?
Absolutely. So I'm on social media such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can also go to triviumwriting.com. It's TriviumWriting.com. So there are a bunch of resources there, blog articles, trainings, all kinds of things. So they can connect there as well.
Thank you so much, Léandre, for being part of Strategy Rewind. And for you that are listening, check out the show links, because there you'll find details on how you can connect with Léandre. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
I want to take this moment to thank everyone who has been connected here today. Thank you. If you found value and insight with the strategies discussed today, check out the show notes for further highlights and helpful links, and consider subscribing to be notified when a new weekly episode is available. Also, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that helps us know that you like this podcast and want more of it. A special thanks to today's guest, and please be sure to follow them for more helpful information. Well, I'll connect with you on the next episode of Strategy Rewind, but in between time and in the meantime, check out MiguelLebron.com, where you'll find free resources. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you shortly.